form up. Okay, so for numbers 1 and 2, the stuff we did last time, we just gotta fill in the boxes that we don't have. So let's start with number 1. It says that we have 15 protons, so we just start with the periodic table. So which element has 15 protons? Yeah, P, phosphorus. Okay, it's just the number on the top. So for our symbol, we can write P. Okay. Now we have to put the mass number on the top left. If you guys remember, the mass number is just equal to the protons plus the neutrons. And so we just need to add these two numbers together. So if we do 15 plus 17, what number do we get? Yeah, 32. So we just put 32 on the top left. Yes. A pen. Okay. All right. So that's going to be the number on the top left, the isotopes. The next number that you need to put is the charge. Okay, and charge is going to be protons minus electrons. So we got to get 15 and 18. And we just do 15 minus 18, which gives us, yeah, -3. So we'll get 3 minus on the top right. So there you go. Just a heads up, you will have a question or two on your exam like this. It's most likely going to be this kind of table, and you just fill it out. So there you go. I showed you guys how to solve a question on your test. Okay. All right, let's go on to the next one. So here we're going opposite. We have the mass number and the charge. So we can start with the protons. So we have Sn. So if you look on the periodic table for Sn, how many protons does Sn have? Yeah, 50. It's just a number on the top. It's 10. So 50. All right, to find the number of neutrons, we just need to get the mass number, which is 80. And we subtract the protons. So 80 minus 50 is, yeah, 30. And then for the charge, all you need to do is the protons. And you can subtract the charge, which is 2. And you'll get 48. There you go. And if you guys use a different method or a different equation, or you did it mentally in your head to figure it out, that's totally fine. As long as you get the correct answers, I'm cool with it. Okay. There will come a time next unit where you have to solve the problems how I show you how to solve them. But for this unit, you can solve it however you like, okay? Alrighty, any questions on the review, the stuff from last time? Yeah.
This one, like, your exam, one, like, let's say you did, like, are there makeups?
No, no makeups.
And then also, like, after the exam, you, like, have, there's, like, some teachers will, like, have, like, students swap tests and, like, correct them, or
no, I just have I correct all the tests, and I'll have them back to you pretty quick. Yeah, but if you want to check the answers or go over anything, I'm more than happy to go over it with you. Yeah, good questions. Any other questions about this or the exam or whatever? Exam's not for like 3 weeks, but I don't want to freak you guys out. Okay. All right, so today we're going to be talking about something called molecular formulas. So we're going to learn how to write the formulas for molecules now, okay? Maybe. We'll have pop quiz if I get really mad. Yeah, so as long as I'm in a good mood, then I won't give pop quiz. A lot of pop quizzes. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. All right, anyway, so you guys don't need to write this down. We learned about this already. But we talked about how atoms and elements, they're the individual pieces, like they're the single Lego blocks, right? You see them on the periodic table. And then when you put the Lego blocks together, when you put the atoms together, that's how you get these molecules, right? Molecules are things made out of 2 or more atoms. So here we got an example. The atoms are just the singular pieces. The molecules are what we get when we put the pieces together. Hopefully that rings a bell from before. I think we went over this like the first week. Now we're gonna learn how to read and write these formulas today. So it's pretty simple. All you need to do is be able to use the periodic table to find the elements and just look at the number next to it. Okay, so we're actually gonna jump right into practice problems. Okay, so make sure you're solving the problems with me, and you don't need to write the problem down, but I do recommend writing the number. So let's write number 1, and then I need you guys to write H2O. So number 1, we're gonna be looking at water, which is H2O. So the first type of problem that you'll be doing today for your assignment is I'm going to give you a chemical formula and you just need to tell me how many of each element there are. Okay, so pretty simple. Okay, so let's look at H2O. What's the first element that's in water? Yeah, hydrogen, H, right? So we look on the periodic table and you just look for the capital letters. The capital letter that you see first is H. So hydrogen. So we're going to write down the first element that we have is hydrogen. And that's going to be right there. Okay, so we know that we have hydrogen, but how many hydrogens do we have?
2.
We have 2. So this is the part that's new. So whatever number, the tiny number that's next to it, that applies to the one that's in front of it. Okay, so since there's a 2 behind hydrogen, it means there are 2 hydrogens. So our first answer is there are 2 hydrogens. So just keep that in mind. It's whatever number is behind it applies to the element in front, okay? All right, let's look at the next element. So which element is O? Yeah, oxygen. You look on the periodic table for O, capital O is oxygen. So we're just going to write down oxygen. Okay, now if you guys notice, is there a number behind oxygen? No, there's no number. If there's no number behind an element, it means there's just one of that element. Okay, so we only have one oxygen. So just keep that in mind. If there's no number behind the element, you just have one of that. Okay. And that's pretty much it. That's how you interpret these formulas. And so today on today's assignment, I'll be giving you a bunch of different molecule formulas. You just got to tell me how many of each you got. Okay. You guys think you could try some on your own? Okay, so I'm gonna give you guys I'll give you 3 minutes to try number 2 and 3. I want you guys to tell me how many of each element are in cocaine. Cocaine's formula is right here. And vinegar. Vinegar's formula is right there. Dude, it's funny, dude. Everyone gets really excited once they see the name cocaine. All right, I'll give you guys 3 minutes. Good time, okay? All right, so let's start with cocaine. What is the first element that's in cocaine? Yeah, carbon is C. And how many carbons do we have?
7.
Yeah, perfect. It's just a number in the back. So 17 applies to carbons. 17 carbons. Let's go on to the next one. What's the next element?
Hydrogen.
Yeah, hydrogen, same thing. And we have 21. So we got 21 hydrogens. Okay, what's the next element?
Nitrogen.
Yeah, we got nitrogen, the N. How many nitrogens do we have though? Yeah, just 1. And then last but not least, what's the last element we got?
Oxygen.
Yeah, and then we have 4. Good. And that's it. Pretty easy, right? Okay, number 3 is an example of one. So sometimes when people write chemical formulas, they split up the elements because it kind of tells us how the element is structured, what order they're in. And so let's take a look at vinegar. So the first element that we have is carbon. So we've already seen carbon before, C. How many carbon do we have though?
1.
Not 1, 2, yeah. You're gonna notice there's 1 here and 1 here, so they're split up. So sometimes they write it like that just to show you what the molecule is going to look like. It's kind of in this order, and so we have to add them up. So there are 2 carbons, so we got to add those up. All right, let's go to the next one. So the next one, I'll just let you guys know, is hydrogen. So based on what we know, how many hydrogens do we have?
4.
Exactly, yeah. We have 3 here, and then we got 1 right here. So we have 4 hydrogens. And then the last one is oxygen. How many oxygens do we have? Yeah, 2. And they're right here. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Sometimes people will split up the elements. That's kind of for later. We'll talk about the end of the unit, why they split it up like that. But just make sure you know that you just need to add them up. Okay. Alrighty, let's go on to the next one. And so these are the last types of problems where you'll have to add or figure out how many elements there are. So let's go on to 4 and 5. So here we're going to be looking at estrogen and testosterone, which are the female and male sex hormones respectively. So sometimes you're gonna get these formulas where you have parentheses. Okay, and when you have parentheses, what it's telling us is that you have to multiply everything inside the parentheses by the number on the outside, okay? So if you look outside, we have the number 2, right? So if we look inside the parentheses, how many carbons are inside the parentheses? 9, correct. But since there's a parentheses 2, it means we have to multiply the inside by 2. So how many total carbons do we have? Yeah, exactly, 18. So we have 18 carbons. So the parentheses means you multiply everything by the number on the outside. All right, so let's go to hydrogen next. So we got 12 on the inside. So if we multiply it by 2, how many will we have?
24.
Exactly, yeah, we got 24 hydrogens. And then the last one, how many oxygens do we have? 2, exactly. There's only 1 in there because there's no number. That means we only have 1. So we'll have 2 oxygens. Alrighty, guys. So I'll give you guys about a minute. I want you guys to try the same thing, but this time with testosterone. If you guys notice, testosterone has a C on the outside, so just make sure you guys keep that in mind and see if you guys can figure out what to do with that. Okay. I could, but then that's no fun for me then. All right, so I'll give you guys about a minute, try to count those up, and then we'll go over that one, and then we'll move on to the last types of problems, and then we'll be all done for the day. Okay, so same thing here. We have the same 3 elements, right? We got carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. You'll be seeing those a lot, just heads up. Okay, so carbon. If you take a look at this formula, we got the parentheses. So if you look inside the parentheses, there's a 9, right? So if you do 2 times 9, you get 18. But since there's a carbon on the outside, how many total carbons do we have? Yeah, we got 19. Okay, so we got 19 carbons. Just keep that in mind. You have to do the parentheses, and if they're split up, just make sure you add the one on the outside with the total number that you have. Okay, how many hydrogens did you guys get?
28.
Yeah, 28. There's the 14 inside, 2 on the outside, so you multiply those 2, you'll get 28. And then you guys can see that oxygen, there's 1, and there's 2 on the outside, so we got 2 oxygens. Okay, so if you guys notice, there's not a big difference between estrogen and testosterone, right? It's only 1 carbon and 4 hydrogens.
But what's up with that secret?
Oh, that's just on the outside. So we have to add it to the total number of carbons. Yeah, so we got 18 plus 2.
It'll
1.
be like that for every member. I want to like multiply it.
Yeah, if there's parentheses. I did 9 times 2, which gave me 18, and there's 1 carbon on the outside, so you do 18 plus 1. That's how you get 19. So you multiply with the parentheses and then add it up with whatever's left over. Okay, let's go on to the last set of questions, and this will be very quick. This is a lot easier because it requires almost no thinking. So the last type is you got to write molecule formula. So I'm gonna tell you guys what a molecule is made out of, and then you just need to write the formula. So it's kind of the reverse. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to write the chemical formula for a molecule that's made up of 2 potassiums and 1 oxygen. Okay, morning. Appreciate it. Okay, so super simple. All you need to do is find out the symbol for these 2 elements and then just put the number behind them. So let's look for potassium. Potassium is on the far left. Okay, what's the symbol for potassium? Yeah, K, right here. So we're going to write K. And if there are 2 potassiums, we just write a 2 behind it. Okay, and then we've seen oxygen already. And so we know that oxygen is O. Since there's only 1 oxygen, we just put an O, and that's it. So K2O. Okay, so remember, if there's only 1, you don't need to write a number. You can just write the name, the symbol. Alrighty, guys. So this will be the last question for the lecture for today. So I'll give you guys maybe about 2 minutes. I want you guys to try writing the chemical formula for this molecule. Again, make sure you guys look it up on the periodic table. And then after that, I'll let you guys get started on your assignment. All right. Take about 2 minutes to finish that up. Start on the assignment. So we've seen most of these elements. The only one we didn't see is iron. So if you go on the periodic table, what's the symbol for iron? Yeah, Fe. It's in the middle. Iron is Fe. Okay, so it tells us that we only have one iron, so we can just write Fe. Okay, we saw earlier that carbon is C. We have 14, so we just write C and then a little 14 underneath it. Hydrogen is H, so we just write H55. Oxygen is O, so we write O4. And then lastly, nitrogen is N, and since there's only one of them, we just write N. And that's it. If you got this, you're good to go. Alrighty, so I'll give you guys the rest of the class period to work on your assignment. If you guys have any questions, let me know. If you guys want to check the answer key, let me know, and I'll let you guys take a look at it. And if you guys finish early, make sure you guys keep up with the work from your previous classes as well. All right, good luck, guys, and let me know if you guys got any questions.